Welcome. My name is Sarah Bowers-Peter, and I'm the Program Coordinator for Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington. Thank you for joining us tonight for week 3 of the Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington series with Detective Constable Hugh Currie of Guelph Police Service. He's with the Internet Child Exploitation Unit, and this series is a part of our Crime Stoppers Month awareness, and we're happy to have you here. Once again, I'd like to introduce Alex Bojan, Secretary of the Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington Board of Directors, to share a few words. Alex?
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah, and thanks everyone for joining tonight. Although tonight's conversation can certainly be a difficult conversation to have, there are definitely conversations worth having. So on behalf of the board, I want to thank Hugh for being with us tonight for what will be a very informative and important discussion. So I'll send it back to Sarah to get started. But thanks again.
Thank you, Alex. And now a few words about our guest speaker this evening. Detective Hugh Currie is the team leader of the Internet Child Exploitation Unit for the Guelph Police Service. He has been a police officer for 20 years and has been a member with the Guelph Police Service since 2006. Prior to that, Hugh worked with the York Regional Police Service. He's done training with the Ontario Police College and the Canadian Police College in Ottawa. He conducts presentations about internet safety to community groups of all ages and also to Guelph area schools. In 2019, Hugh received the Cornerstone Award from Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington for his work on EPAC, which is Educate Parents and Children Together, an award-winning program developed by Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington. Thank you for being here tonight, Hugh, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming here. This is, because of COVID, this is a hot topic, and I'm a parent as well, so I know what the parents are going through. I know what everybody's dealing with. I have made a presentation for everybody to view. Please, throughout the presentation, like Sarah said, if you have any questions, shoot them in the chat. Pop out and say them, because if you're like me, I try to keep questions to the end, and it never happens. I always forget what I'm going to say. So please feel free. I don't mind. You don't offend me whatsoever. So once again, yep, my name is Hugh Currie, and I am part of the internet. I am part of 82 police officers and 26 police agencies in Ontario that are dedicated to saving children online. Between 2015 and 2020, Guelph Police Service rescued 43 child victims from the internet. And we're proud of that. That's a big accomplishment for Guelph for only being 2 of us in this unit. We also have 2 computer experts that work with us as well that help manage everything we need them to do. I'm going to get started on the presentation. It was a lengthy presentation, but I got told to knock it down. So it was knocked down. So it's not that bad. Because there is so much to cover, I know there's so many applications out there. There's probably 100,000 new applications coming out every day. Knockoff applications of Facebook, and some company will come up with one that looks like Facebook that isn't Facebook. I can't cover all of them, so I've picked pretty much predominantly the main ones that we need to concentrate on, that I think that I've seen the most in doing my job. So I'm going to get that going right now. Okay, 1 second. What did I do again, Sarah?
Did you want to take out the preview screens on the side? Is that what you were wanting?
Yeah. I forget how I did that last time. I have to flip.
I can't access them on my end. I can't help you.
Oh, way to go. Okay, so I'm usually not a presenter. Oh, here it is. I am usually, there we go. How's that? Can we see that okay?
That's perfect, thanks.
Excellent. So I know when I was a kid, it was all outside doing whatnot. You're either doing cops and robbers or you're playing hide and go seek tag. But we have to remember that we cannot raise our children the way our parents raised us. Theoretically, our parents raised us for a world we can't raise our kids in. So our parents didn't raise us on screen time. Our parents didn't raise us to watch out for the bad guys on the internet. the people out there that are trying to do stuff to our kids. Our parents didn't raise us for that. We as parents now have to adapt and overcome and raise our kids for the world that exists now. Not for the world that was, but the world that exists now.
There's so many things now. Parents don't know how to catch up.
Tumblr, Ask a Fam, Kick, all that stuff. I don't think they're gonna get it.
I just don't get the impact that social media has on like teens' lives.
Can I just scream right now? Nothing freaks me out more about being a parent at the moment than my kids entering the social media age. How will I possibly keep tabs on everything they're doing? And how will Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the other yet to be created social networks impact them? A 2-year AC 360 investigation, being 13, inside the secret world of teens, found that we parents don't really have a clue what's going on.
Some people post, the provocative pictures, the ones that show a little top, a little bottom. It shows what your parents would want you to really be showing.
Even parents who try to control their kids' social media use often don't realize that what their kids are posting might not match how they're feeling. About 60% of parents underestimated how lonely, worried, and depressed their kids were. And about 94% underestimated the amount of fighting on social media. Parents just don't realize how subtle the social aggression can be. Everything from posting a group photo and intentionally not tagging someone in the picture to sharing a photo with the main goal of trying to hurt all the people who weren't invited to that event.
I think what adults need to remember is that for a lot of 13-year-olds, they really have one social group who they care a lot about, and that is their friends at school. And if they're left out of that one group, that feels devastating.
So what's a parent to do? Well, experts say sign up for the social networks your teens are on and follow them and talk to your kids. If they seem upset after being on their phones, ask them about it. Because the AC 360 investigation did have one very encouraging finding, and that is kids whose parents were involved were less likely to get upset about social media.
So I have the ability to go through the internet. I'm part of many, many sites, many chat groups, many blogs, and I'm able to pull stuff, information here so the parents don't have to go find it. This here is recent. This comes from a website called Bark. They are very good. I monitor them. I've actually had my kids monitoring their stuff. 70.9% of tweens, 87.9% of teens encounter nudity or content of sexual nature online. I'm going to say that's probably higher. Just from what we're seeing so far in the 28 days that we're into January, there's a lot out there. We're seeing lots. We're getting a lot of cyber tips from the United States coming up from different platforms. Kick, Spotify, Tumblr, Pinterest, just message groups. Yahoo sending us message groups. Google sending us cyber tips saying this stuff's being shared on here. You guys got to find out who's done it, who's doing it, and we have to educate. We've already had 2 instances where kids are self-exploiting themselves online to YouTube, and that's an education part. I'm not going out looking to charge people. I'm not. A big part of my job is education. The public web. So what predominantly most of the society's on is the public web. It's like an iceberg. It's only 4%. I play in the 96%, which is the deep web, which is the dark web, which I can go in there and buy guns, ammunition. I can buy pictures. I can buy kids. I can buy whatever I want down there when I want. Okay, that's where I play. I play down there because I have ways to protect myself and protect my internet so they can't find out where I am, who I am, or where I live, or what I do for a living. We find that a lot of parents, their kids want to go down there and dabble, but they don't have any way to protect themselves. Hackers and bad guys who are down there are very well versed in the computer language and how the computer networking works and IP addresses and whatnot. And they can bump off and find out where these kids are, where you are, or whatnot. So this is why we have to pay attention to what our kids are doing. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to ask them, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? Talk to me. All right. We have to ensure that we stay above the water. That's where we want to play. TikTok. TikTok has come huge, very huge. It's almost out of control. There's a lot of good stuff on TikTok, a lot of cool videos, a lot of actors and actresses use TikTok for promoting stuff. Companies are using TikTok now because so many people have TikTok. So many people do things on TikTok. You can create posts, short videos. You can put filters in. You can set it to music, any type of music you want to add. If your videos are good, you can earn money. It's just like YouTube, where after you get so many followers, you start earning money. They're 15-second clips, but because TikTok is American, you must be over 13 years to use it. However, the caveat to that is there is no age verification for TikTok. So there's no way to prove how old somebody is, which gets kids into a lot of problems. Ways we can protect our kids on TikTok. Ensure the settings are set to private. So only people who you or your children want to watch can watch it. And you should have an account. You should be following your kids. Why not? I have a 17-year-old boy and an 11-year-old boy, and my oldest has Instagram, whatever, and I follow him on everything. My wife follows him. All her friends follow him. He's got nothing to hide. A lot of these profiles, a lot of these applications now have QR codes, which are the little box, little square with all the funky lines going through it. They should be sharing that, because once that gets shared, it can be printed, it can be put anywhere, and you can't control who has it. Location services is big. You can either turn your location services off for that specific app, or you can go and turn it off for your whole phone. Sit there and see what your kids are doing. Help them, be part of their videos. Why not? This way you interact with them, communicate with them. There's a big up and down about, well, should I ask my child for his password? Should I not? I'm going to say there's no harm in it. You're not there to spy on them. You're there to protect them. As a parent, that's one of our jobs, is to protect them. There are in-app purchases like most apps, most profiles, most games. Make sure none of your credit cards are associated to them. Make sure that somehow they're not getting money from people they don't know and getting special gifts. In the iPhone, there is a switch that you can turn off the in-app purchases. And I believe in the Android, there is as well. Just so you know, as of 2019, TikTok was fined $5.7 million US for, it should be not complying with Privacy Protection Act. They failed to obtain parental consent for users under the age of 13, which is hard to do. They were collecting information on kids under 13. Adults were contacting these kids because they realized that these kids were under 13, which you get into the predatory nature of some of these people out there on the internet. And it's gone so far that India has requested TikTok to be removed from Apple and Google Play Store in India because it does promote child pornography content and gives sexual predators and cyberbullying a platform to work on. We have not had any TikTok investigations in Guelph since TikTok has come big, but that's not to say we're not going to. January 13th, just recently, for children ages 13 to 15, accounts will be set to private by default, and TikTok will turn off the setting, suggest your account to others. This will allow users' videos to only be seen by those they approve as a follower. It limits their account from being recommended to others elsewhere in the app. They'll now be able to choose between friends or no one in terms of who can comment on the videos, and the everyone option will be removed. So this is good. This is where the peer pressure sets in, is where kids start posting stuff and they want to get more likes than their friends or more hearts than their friends. This is something, again, that the kids, if they set up this themselves, may not do. This is why we need parents just to go through their stuff to understand, ensure they understand, and ensure you understand as well. This is just a screen capture of what the TikTok privacy looks like.
Hugh, is it okay for people to maybe take a snap of this?
For sure. Please go ahead. Yes, of course.
Thanks.
Now, of course, as TikTok evolves and they update their platform, this may change. I don't think it's going to change that much, but it may change, so you may have to find stuff. All you have to do is go on the Google, and because I'm over 40 years old, I can say the Google and say, how do I set up TikTok privacy? And it's going to pop up for you, no problem.
I'm Leah. I have 3 kids, and my youngest is 4 years old.
My name is Brent. My daughter is Sasha, and she's 2 years old.
My name is Celeste, and I am the mother of Dylan, 6 years old, and then Emma is 5.
Hola, mi nombre es Rosy y tengo 2 varones, uno de 4 años y otro de 2 meses.
They spend about an hour a day.
4 to 6 hours every day in YouTube.
De 2 a 3 horas a la semana.
15 to 30 minutes a day on YouTube.
I am Dr. Jenny Radesky. So one of the most interesting findings in the Common Sense Census report is that children are now watching more online videos on sites like YouTube than ever before. Recent research shows that kids are using the main site a lot more than the YouTube Kids site. We really need to think about whether the content there is appropriate for their minds, for their emotions, and for their growing selves. Most kids are going to YouTube for entertainment. They're not finding a lot of the kind of hidden gem, really well-crafted educational content.
Some of the things that concerned me in YouTube are language, violence.
We decided to create a new code for interpersonal violence. So this is when it might have been a cartoon character or a real person was being rude, pranking, bullying, or controlling someone else.
Outside of this, Dylan did have an issue with being bullied last year during school, so I think there's a sensitivity around it.
We concluded that parents probably know that YouTube has a lot of iffy content or inappropriate content, that they need to do some of the monitoring.
When I decide what Elijah watches, I make sure it's educational.
She doesn't turn on the TV. We have to do all that first. So we get to choose every time she watches at this point.
Para mí es importante el medio de la calidad o la calidad de los medios que los niños ven.
You know, there's shows that I will put on for them that are super inspirational and educational when they're on their own device. For the most part, if I can be candid, like it's just like trash. They're being exposed to all sorts of fantastical things and toys that are available at Target.
There's lots of different ways that YouTubers can make money other than just ads. And we saw these throughout a lot of the videos.
I'm concerned sometimes is the ads that he sees that you can't really skip it at times.
Los comerciales salen de repente y son de productos pues, que pues, son para adultos, son cosas que los niños pues, realmente no necesitan ver.
There seems to be a whole network where dolls are baking cakes or full-grown women are baking cakes with their dolls.
It leaves a lot of room for YouTube to clean up what it is recommending to kids, just so parents don't have one more thing that they're trying to keep track of and try to keep control over. Our goal in doing this study was not to try to worry or panic people about what's on YouTube. It was really to try to understand, what are kids watching? How could it be designed better to support families and kids getting the most out of YouTube? You know, and how can we help guide families to make it a better experience?
El consejo que usualmente le doy a padres con niños pequeños es el que primero vean el contenido.
In the evening, before we read a book, we'll like generally watch a show, but it's together and it's like in the family room.
YouTube has a responsibility to make sure that kids are getting good experiences there. They're not being manipulated by marketing, and their viewing or their pleasure isn't being disrupted by lots of excessive ads that aren't important.
There's so much more screen time in all fashions, whether it's your phone, your iPad, your TV. So if you have quality educational programs, it's a big deal.
So that video comes to us from commonsense.org, a very, very good site. Actually, whenever my kids want to buy new games I don't know about, I go there and they will give you opinions about games or video games or videos on YouTube or whatnot to watch. That it comes from the adult perspective and they rate it, what age should watch it, and it comes from the child's perspective of what age the child thinks that they should watch it. And believe it or not, sometimes the kids believe that kids should be older than what the parents actually say they should be. So the kids are sort of fighting the battle for us sometimes. If link your account, if you have young kids and they're okay to watch YouTube. My 11-year-old was glued to YouTube. It's all Minecraft stuff and whatnot, but he's watching it nonstop. But I know what he's watching. I have linked his account, so it's my account, but it's linked to his tablet. So whenever he watches a video, I can see what video he's watching. You can set alerts. You can have one email account associated to that YouTube account, so that when he sets up reminders of what YouTube videos to watch, it could pop up on your email account. YouTube has made a very big step, and they're pushing hard to limit the content of child pornography or pornography on YouTube. There is a YouTube called Kids YouTube, which is all based kids content. However, recently it has been found that there are some adult pornography mixed in with the kids content, which YouTube has got rid of really fast. So YouTube is making good steps into ensuring that our kids, when they are watching YouTube, is safe for them. But again, YouTube isn't there to parent our kids. We are there to parent our kids. So we still have to make an effort to ensure that our kids are not watching something they shouldn't be watching. So this is something you can look into for a restricted mode. If you want to take a snap of this, please go ahead. But again, this screen capture is about a year, 2 years old, and I know YouTube has upgraded their application twice since then, so this may look different. Here's just some screen captures of, I'm sure everybody's seen YouTube, but what YouTube looks like. And on the side of the YouTube is settings where you can switch stuff, strict safeguarding. There's so much you can do with YouTube because it's cross-platform. You can open it up on any device, tablet, iPhone, Android, your smart TV, and have one account and watch it on all of them. So everything applies to different parts or different devices you open them up on. Here's the part where I was talking about enable casting to other screens. And then the passcode down below. You can set the home screen age level. This is YouTube for kids to school age or whatnot if you want. Current location will probably stay to Canada because it bounces off your service provider. And again, you can set the password for this, but get your kids involved in figuring out a password that they'll like as well. Fortnite was big, fell off pretty much the face of the earth for a bit and then came back. It's huge. They've updated all their characters in it now. There's more worlds. Lots of adults are playing this with kids. It is cartoonish, it is violent. Again, there is no age verification on this. So an adult who's a predator will go on here and say that they are 12 years old to get the attention and attraction of all the other 12-year-olds. And as they're playing, this may go on for a bit, he'll focus in on one person and start playing with that one person. And that's where they start building a relationship. And then from there, it gets put to another application where the predator can start doing more things to him. Fortnite is rated 12 plus, and again, this is American. And again, there are kids younger than 12 years old on there, which I've seen. And we got to be aware of what safety and whatnot it is. If it's an open account, create a username that doesn't give away personal details or their age. I always say, if you're going to put a profile picture of Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson's been around for, God, he's probably like 80 years old now, theoretically, but he's still there as a kid, so he's a perfect one to be aware of. There are 3 levels of settings where you can protect yourself. Public, where anybody can see your child's online friends, and private. My 11-year-old now plays with friends who he only invites or who he knows. Oh, excuse me. And if your child is playing in an open group, turn off the voice chat. Okay, if he's playing with people he doesn't really know, there's no really reason to be chatting or to be listening to him. I have played on my son's account and gone into some games, and I couldn't believe the language I was hearing from these people. And none of them sound like kids. I looked at the profile picture and their name sort of made it sound like they were kids or should be kids, but they clearly were not kids. Speak to your child about what they might hear, he or she might hear, what they might see. If you let them know that you're aware of it, it's going to make them easier to come and talk to you. The internet has turned into a device where we as parents almost have another job to make sure we know what's going on with them. As much as it is, sometimes when my child downstairs is quiet playing video games, I get more worried than when he's hollering and screaming. So I know he's hollering and screaming with his friends, but if he's quiet, then I'm like, well, what's going on down there? So I go down and wander down and see what's going on. Lucky for me, I have a 17-year-old who's also downstairs, so he sort of keeps an eye on him and hears what's going on. Instagram, very popular, very big. We deal with umpteen number of Instagram cyber complaints from the United States, which is good because it means Instagram's doing their job. Again, there is no age verification. We're sort of seeing a trend now where there is no age verification. And what I mean by no age verification is anybody can sign up for a Gmail account. When you sign up for your Gmail account, you don't need to say your age. Or if you do, people lie and there's no way to verify it. In our investigations, we have seen people with many user accounts on Instagram. I myself have a bunch of user accounts for investigative purposes. There is lots of cyberbullying out there. There is harsh comments posted, people posting comments to other people. And the most we see is females, girls in schools posting they get very harsh amongst other females when something happens. Change your accounts to private. Invite people in only who you want to be in there. Don't leave it open. If you leave it open and it's not private, that's when the floodgates open up and a lot of people start trying to be friends. I look at it as if, why does your son or daughter have 500 friends when they theoretically only know 20 people? Who are all these people that they're friends with? If you ask them who these friends are, they're not going to know half of them. I guarantee it. There is a lot of pressure to look perfect. There's a lot of pressure out there for kids to make sure that it's the way it is. Filters and backdrops and whatnot, it's all in there. The positive thing about Instagram is we see a lot of kids when I go into schools and talk with parents and stuff, kids are using Instagram for positive things like posting art, showing off their talents, whether gymnastics. I was talking to a parent who their child showed me their Instagram posting and it was all about her horseback riding from when she got her horse and it grew up all the way through. That's great. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to encourage our kids to do. If we encourage them at a young age to start posting positive and not be afraid of the camera and not be afraid of Instagram, then I think we're going to deviate them from going the wrong way. Just to touch on Omegle. Omegle says talk to strangers. That is what you do, talk to strangers. I know we have some young kids in here, and this is to the parents. If you see your kids on Omegle, it's time to turn it off and probably delete everything on their phone. Omegle says talk to strangers. Why? Because you literally talk to strangers from all over the world. There is keep it clean section, but I guarantee you that most people go to the unmonitored section where so what it is two screens pop up. Usually the person you're talking to is on the top and it's a roulette, it's a carousel. It goes through and through and you'll be on the bottom screen. And I'm gonna say 10 out of 10 times when we do investigations and we scroll through that, there's nothing good. It's all adult males doing inappropriate things hoping to get somebody that will be interested in them and whatnot. So Omegle is not set for good. It's from Russia. It's based out of Russia. I have not heard or seen anything in my 6 years of doing this that has been good on it. So that's one thing I put it in there, because that's one thing that we need to ensure that our kids don't get sucked into. It's easy for them to get sucked into because you see that the person's from Canada or Uruguay or wherever, but the person doesn't really know who you are. It's not that, it's the fact that when our kids get sucked into this and start doing inappropriate things online, these people start screen capturing, start recording what they're watching online or on Omegle, and they save it and they send it. In the child pornography world and business, pictures of kids are worth a lot of money. The newer the picture, the more money or the more trading you're gonna get out of that picture. So when kids go on Omegle and people start screen capturing or recording what they're doing, these people could trade these pictures for lots and lots of money. This comes from the United States, courtesy of the Maydill Police Department. You guys can take screen capture of this for sure. Usually when we do presentations, I have this printed out as handouts, but it's 15 apps you should know about. Some of them I'm sure you've probably never ever heard about. We have our TikTok, our Snapchat, our Grindr, our WhatsApp, our Bumble and Grindr are somewhat the same. Kik, which has made a comeback. Kik used to be based out of Waterloo, Ontario, but it's now based out of the United States. Excuse me, Hot or Not. Calculator for all the parents. If your child has another calculator application on their phone or device, it's probably because they're hiding stuff. Sorry to the kids who are watching this that may have that on their phone.
Back to school on the brain for many of us. Now is a good time for parents to check in on their kids' online activity. And sometimes it means more than just a conversation.
Yeah, so answer this question for me right now. Do you know your child's passwords? Think about that. If you don't, you probably should. Senior reporter Liz Crawford pulled out a pop quiz on some parents and got some honest answers.
How old was your child when she got a smartphone?
12. She was about 8 years old.
She's 11. Okay. So when do you think is a good time for a smartphone?
Not yet. He's asked me about it, but I've refused. I think it's individual based on the child and based on the need, and I don't think he's ready, and I'm definitely not ready.
Do you know your child or children's passwords? No.
Yes, I do.
Do you perform periodic checks on your kids' devices?
My husband does.
Her mother does it more often than I do.
I do. He's standing right here. So
Did you know she does that? Yeah, I do.
oh, he already knew.
Do you know what apps are on your kids' phones and how they're used? I know the apps, but I don't know how they're all used. The one I made her delete was Snapchat, because I have heard nothing but negativity about that.
I know what's on it, but I don't know what they all do.
Do you know if your kids talk to strangers online?
She does not.
You know that for a fact?
You know, as much as I can.
I do trust my daughter, but does she talk to strangers online? I don't know.
We probably should be more into what he has going on, because you never know.
This is an online agreement. It's a child-parent online agreement. This might seem a little extreme to have this kind of agreement with your child, but is that something that you would ever consider?
The only reason we would have this discussion is for their safety, right? So is there anything too extreme that is for their safety? I don't think so.
So look, I put a link to this parent-child online agreement on WTSP.com. Just look for this story on our website. If nothing else, it gives you a better idea of what you need to be looking out for. Really interesting to hear their answers. Now, the Sarasota Sheriff's Office recently shared these 15 apps that deputies think you should know about. This is a follow-up to the 9 they shared a year ago. That's because kids' habits change over time. They point out the dangers of these apps after arresting 25 men. Detectives say the additional ones were just used by the men they arrested, and they believe they were targeting children. And on top of talking to your kids about those apps and watching what they're doing on their
back to school on the brain for many of us.
Oh, what's going on?
Ik zie een school tegenover
Ja.
insecten.
Dat blieft?
Ik voel 2 insecten op je rug. Kan dat?
Ja. Vlinders.
Slovenie. Een motto. Oranje. Pas erop. Zenit. Oui, bien. Je hebt een vriendin. Julie de...
Ja.
Boeiend liefdesleven. 3, 4.
De vierde, daar zei ik meestal over, dus dat weten niet veel mensen.
Is met spierscheur. Maison rouge, balkon. Plan. Ja. Ik zie geld, ik zie transacties, maar ik ken je rekeningnummer van buiten. Ik denk dat ik het wel weet. Het staat wel negatief op uw bankrekening.
Ja?
97. Last month, you spent €200 on alcohol. Vorige maand €300 aan kleding gespendeerd. 8.
Ja.
5. Voor een huis dat van eigenaar gaat veranderen. €750.000. Ja, eigenlijk. 41.
Ja.
Juist.
Ja, dat is het. Oh my god. Oh man. Dat is heel eng.
It's important for us to remember that, and important for our kids to know that everything they put online is there forever. I can go to an open source website, archive.org, and find out what the first Facebook page looks like, what the first Snapchat page looked like. So employers, schools, the police can go back and find stuff that people post online. Important topic, bullying. I'm not going to start pointing fingers and say who's a bully, who's not a bully, but I'm going to say that through my experience, everybody's been a bully online at one point. You may not have known you were a bully. You may have seen somebody being a bully. You may have been the victim of being bullied. But it's being able to understand, it's being able to see your kids, seeing your kids doing it, seeing the expression your kids give after something's happened to them. Have they gotten in a fight with their friends online? Did they say something that they're regretting now? Twitter, Spotify, Instagram, Snapchat. I think Instagram and Snapchat are the two big ones. Spotify's been popping up. I don't know why. It's a new one to me, quite honestly. Discord is a big one for gamers, for kids who are gaming, who set up chat groups with their friends in games. Bullying happens. It happens everywhere. It used to happen on the school playground when I was growing up. You're bullying, you punch it out, and you're done. Now, because all the kids have devices, all the kids are connected, bullying follows them 24/7. When they go to bed, when they wake up, if they've been bullied, it's the message is there. When they're in school, when they're with their parents, before they're about to go to bed, you know, there's always that saying that you should always go to bed happy and not sad or scared. Well, unfortunately, with devices now, kids are going to bed scared and sad because the last thing they see on their device before they go to bed is somebody saying something bad about them. Cyberbullying is a form of online peer aggression that is delivered in a high-tech way to support deliberate, repeated, and hostile behavior by an individual or group that is intended to harm others emotionally, psychologically, and even physically. That pretty much sums it up. That's, unfortunately, that's what our kids are dealing with. Us as adults, we deal with it all the time as well. We don't know we're doing it. We don't know what's being done to us. But if we sit back and think about it and look at it, we say that, yeah, maybe I did say something to be like a bully, or I was bullied. How does cyberbullying happen? Stealing of passwords, direct messages, threats, or harassments, photoshopped images where they may take your son or daughter's face and put it on something else. Sharing someone's secret or embarrassing information online, sharing inappropriate pictures of somebody online. Physical threats. I'm going to text somebody saying I'm going to beat you up after school. Signs of cyberbullying. I don't know why that's there. A marked change in how your son or daughter, you know, they're always on the computer or their tablets, but now all of a sudden they don't want to do anything with it. You know your kids better than anybody else. Their friends sometimes know your kids better than you do. Are they depressed? Are they frustrated? They take the phone, slam it down, and walk away in a huff. They won't say who they're talking to or texting with. They don't go to bed right away. They have trouble sleeping. They're always having headaches, stomach aches. All of a sudden they start crying. They're sitting at the table, dinner's going good, and they start bawling. What's going on? Talk to me. They don't want to leave the house. They feel more secured around you. All of a sudden, when your kids never wanted to be around you, now they want to be around you all the time. It's time to start looking into things. Have a chat with them. Say, you know, what's going on? Talk to me. You know, we have to ensure them that when I deal with kids with luring that have been lured by predators online, the first thing I tell the kids is, you are not in trouble, at least by me. You are not in trouble, but you are the victim here. A child's brain isn't wired to be able to pick up on the cues of being a victim to a predator. There we go. Signs of cyberbullying. They're at school and they always want to get their parents called. Low self-esteem, dress habits. They're not dressed in the way they used to be. All of a sudden they're breaking stuff. They don't have much money anymore. You know, they're spending all their allowance for no apparent reason. Stories that don't make sense, sorry, not make sense. And they're not getting the homework done. You have a grade 8 student that's always, you know, banging stuff off, or a student that at least tries hard and does stuff successful in class, and all of a sudden is not doing it anymore. Even around home, they're always up on their chores or whatnot, and everything starts fading off. Roadblocks, a quick thing on Roblox. Roblox has been around forever and it's going to be around forever. There's ways, information out there that you can keep your kids safe on Roblox. You know, we've only had 1 in 6 years investigation about Roblox, and Roblox is very good with kids, or sorry, with police. They are easy and quickly to ban somebody who's being inappropriate on it. They are easy to get rid of content that's on there that isn't supposed to be on there. Predators. Fortunately, they're out there. There's no stopping it. We'll never be able to stop it unless the internet goes down. They do spend a lot of time looking for targets. They do have books. They lie about their age, as we talked about previously. They lie about who they are. They lie about where they live, what school they go to. They usually go after the kids who they sense are kids that come from a broken home, maybe depressed, maybe not confident about, low self-esteem. I am dealing with an investigation right now. Sorry?
I was just going to jump in there, Hugh, and say, for anyone who's been following us with human trafficking, a lot of what you're describing in this slide overlays someone who could be susceptible to being groomed for trafficking. So even though we're talking about bullying in this context, you know, depending on the age of the child, this could be the exact same foundation for someone who would be an ideal candidate for grooming for trafficking.
Very good. Yes, for sure. I'm dealing an investigation out of the United States right now, where somebody actually sent gifts. Predator up here sent gifts to a child in Michigan. So we're dealing with that right now. And believe it or not, even though they're adults, they know how the kids are talking. They know what to say to the kids. You can go on right now and Google how do kids talk on the internet, and you'll get a whole many websites to go to where you can actually see how kids are talking. They know all that. They have books. This is almost like their job. This is what they do. They sit there and prey on kids who aren't expecting it. They all of a sudden will go from, let's say, Roblox, and they'll go to an application maybe called Kick, maybe Instagram, where they can have more freedom to talk to them. It's easy for them to exchange pictures and videos. Some of the ones, Tumblr, Omegle, there's that Omegle one keeps coming up, Fortnite, Reddit, TikTok. So when they start on one platform, they'll just leave that platform completely to talk to the child on another platform. They won't try to do cross conversations on two platforms. It gets too confusing, and they know through experience that it'll confuse the child as well. So they keep it simple, because why? If they're acting like a child, it's got to be simple. It's not going to be complicated. What should you do? So the first thing you want to do is scream, yell, take the device, throw it out the window, flush it down the toilet. 100%, I understand where you're coming from as a parent. I probably would have done the same thing. Ensure your child that they're the victim, okay? Don't confront the bad person that's doing it, male or female. We don't know who they are. They may say they're a male, they could be a female. They say they're a female, they could be a male. We don't know. Try to remain calm. You're going to be livid, right? Take screenshots. The best thing to do is put the device down and call the police. Don't delete anything. Don't change anything. Don't challenge the offender. I've had parents who want to meet the person and want to beat them up. Don't delete the app. Once you delete any app, then all my evidence is gone. I have no way of tracking down who this person is, gathering evidence. Put the phone down and walk away is the best thing to do. Okay, if you want to take screenshots of all the messages, go ahead. But put the phone down and walk away. Call the police will come. In Guelph, they will deal with it, and I'll probably get a call right away about it. And ensure your child they're the victim. Yeah, you're probably going to deal with them on a different level, but the first thing I'm going to tell them, I'm going to be on their side and tell them that they are the victim. I have many arms that can reach out all over North America. Department of Homeland Security, FBI, Queensland Police, UK Police, Scotland Yard. Okay, I can reach out to find out who these people are. If it comes back to the persons in the United States, I send it down to the proper authorities down there to deal with. Depends where it is. But the first thing we want to make sure is that your child is safe. They haven't divulged too much information so the bad guy knows where you live, who you are, what school they go to. We had one a couple years ago where the child was talking with somebody in the United States that it got so bad that I actually alerted Canada Border Services, and we set up thinking that the person was actually coming up to the child because of the conversation that was going on. It happens very, very fast. It's very fluid. So you have to remember, your kids are going to be very freaked out about it and upset about it. Put the phone down and walk away. That's the best thing to do. Sending nudes. Unfortunately, kids do this. This is the society that we're in. Apparently in high school, this is now a pickup line where instead of the hello, how's it going? Talking with our high school resource officers and high school kids, this is how kids get attention of other kids. And I know it's filtered down to public school because we've done a couple of investigations down there. 1 in 4 kids will admit to sexting. Why? Because they have 24/7 access to devices. Why do they have their phone or their tablet in the bathroom with them? Why do they have their phone or tablet in bed with them when nobody else is in there? They could have gotten nude pics. Somebody could have sent it to them. And remember, have the talk with them. Talk to them and see what's going on. If they get a nude pic, they're going to be ashamed about it. They're probably going to be freaked out about it. You know what? It is what it is. Deal with it. Call the police about it because it's not supposed to be happening over the internet, especially sending to kids. The people that probably sent them probably figured out that it is a child they're sending it to. So be aware of it. If you know your child is sending nude pics, inappropriate pictures, videos, have a chat with them. It's not the end of the world. If they have sent it or put it out online, I would suggest calling the police, or my email address is going to be at the end of this video. You can contact me directly. I take that video and send that video to my victim identification team, who doctors it up and, for better words, puts a license plate on it and sends it out over the internet to see if it's been used anywhere else or involved in any investigations. If it is on a certain website and we act fast enough, I can get it taken off that website so that hopefully nobody else gets it. Nobody else screen captures it. Nobody else records it. And we deal with it that way. A little bit about internet safety. Yes, it is common sense. However, if it was so common sense, it would not be on here. Don't respond to emails. Never open attachments. I know a lot of our younger kids have email addresses associated with the school because everybody's working at school. I've just dealt with an investigation with the Upper Grand School Board about a bunch of emails that were sent around. Don't click on links. And it's not only kids that do this, parents are big on this. Click, 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 happy clickers, right? Make sure your antivirus is up to date. Log out of your email, log back in. Never use your main email address for web accounts. I have one email address that I sign everything up on. Everything goes to there because I know all the advertisements and all the spam are going to go to that email account and not to my personal email account. And again, use common sense and caution in what you do. If it's too good to be true, it is. If somebody wants something from you, I get stuff from Rogers all the time asking for my account, update my account, and I'm like, so I call Rogers and it's spam. It's not even real. And it happens across the board with all the service providers too. Follow family rules. Set up family rules. Don't be afraid. There was one of the videos that we watched from the news broadcast down in the States where they do have contracts, parent and kids contracts. You can go online and find them. They're not hard to find. There's a lot out there. And what it is you set up guidelines and rules for the parents and for the kids. If there's consequences if the parents break the rules, and there's consequences of the kids break the rules. Both parents and kids have to be on the same board for this. There's no sense of you breaking rules and nothing happening, and the parent and the kids breaking rules and everything happened to them. So set up consequences, but also set up perks and benefits that, if we go 2 weeks and nothing happens, then we got to go to, let's say, Canada's Wonderland, I don't know, something like that, and do that sort of thing. Or we go out for ice cream. Don't post or trade personal pictures. The reason why I see that is your personal pictures tend to get into the wrong hands. And with Photoshop being readily available to people, what predators do online is they Photoshop the face of your son or daughter out of the picture, put it onto another picture, an inappropriate picture, send that to your son or daughter and say, if you don't send me more of this, then I send this picture that looks like you that isn't to everybody else, of your friends, family, and whatnot. So here we have the predator preying on our kids again, and your child is either going to be like, oh my God, drop the phone, run, mom or dad, help. I did something really bad. I'm sorry. This is what's going on. And as a parent, you're going to be a little upset, frustrated, but you're not going to touch that phone or device, and you're just going to leave it there and we're going to deal with it. Or unfortunately, the child, which we have seen, the youngest so far in Guelph is 10 years old, will panic, anxiety level through the roof, and they will start to send pictures, send posts to the bad person because they don't want to get in trouble for it. Don't put your personal information out there, school name, location. Use only a screen name and don't share passwords. Never use your own name, your real name. Never agree to get together with somebody that you only met online because you don't know who that is. Don't respond to threatening messages or texts, and always tell a parent or somebody that is what's going on. I guess the thing is, if you won't show your parents or your grandparents a picture of yourself, then why are you showing everybody else, right? Basic guidelines for parental: spend time together. Don't be afraid, parents, of the apps out there. I know there's a lot. I know it's scary. I know it sucks at times. Trust me, I have been there, and I'm still there with some of these applications. I am Googling stuff all the time, trying to figure out what the heck my kids are talking about. So I'm with you on this. Keep the computer, if you can, in a common room. I know it's hard to. I know it's not easy nowadays. I know with online school, and the last thing we want to do is see more of our kids at the coffee table doing online schooling. When school's done, we want them to be gone because we need a break too. I hear you. Bookmark stuff on your computer, the kids' computer, sites that you know that you've looked at, that you're aware of, that are safe for your kids to go to, so it's easy for them to go to. so they don't have to start typing something in and type in the wrong word and go to a site that we don't want them to go to. If it's bookmarked, it's there, it goes faster, and we know that they're going to that site and they're not going anywhere else. If you have given your child credit card information to upgrade roadblocks or stuff, keep an eye on that. Make sure they delete it from the account so that it's not always used, and it doesn't get put out there for everybody else to use. Find out what sort of protection there's tons of protection. All the service providers have different ways to protect your routers, your modems. I know schools do have filters for their Wi-Fi. However, I also do know that kids are smart enough now to download VPNs on their devices to get around the school's filters, which happens. And when your child tells you something, take it seriously, okay? Remember, this is something new for them. If it happens, they're going to be scared out of their mind to tell you what they saw. Don't fluff it off. It's only going to take you 5 minutes to figure out if it's real or not. Talk to your kids, see what they're showing you. If you think it's serious enough, call the police. Don't be scared to call the police. We'll help you deal with it. We'll help you get through it. Remember, nothing will replace your supervision of your kids and what they're doing online. Set the rules and stick to them. Educate yourself. If your child wants to go on a certain application, wants to get a certain video game, Google the heck out of that video game to see what it's about. See what other parents are saying about it. See what other kids are saying about it. Find out the downfalls, the good, the pluses about it. Encourage your kids to talk to you about certain stuff. I'm always going down and finding out what my kids are doing. I'm interested in roadblocks. If he's building a new city. My oldest son, who's 17, he streams and whatnot. I go down there and I interrupt his stream, and it's kind of funny. All his friends start laughing because I'm in there dancing in the background. But I'm fine. I'm keeping touch of what he's doing. I'm down there. Don't be afraid to ask your kids what kind of profiles they set up. You're not breaching their privacy. You're parenting. It's the other P that I like. It's the parenting. Okay, you're not breaching their privacy. And lastly, but not remember, everything you see, a better way to explain social media by then using this image. Not everything you see is perfect. Okay. We're not perfect as parents. Kids aren't perfect as kids. Together we can be perfect. Don't be scared to look into stuff, okay? As parents, we're all in this together. Just because you're looking at stuff, I bet you 1 billion other parents around the world in different countries are looking up the same thing at the same time. A couple of sites to go to, cybertip.ca. Excellent site. You can actually report stuff on here of child abuse online. There's so many different things. Is there a question? Nope. Safe, Smart, and Social. They actually have the good and bad teen apps on there. They have a little section they update all the time. For school projects, if you don't know what to do, and if you're at a wit's end and you don't know how to go about dealing with something, hopefully these sites can help you find out how to go to. And again, crimestoppers.ca, if you know of any type of thing going on, if you're afraid, if your kids know of another kid who's being stalked or bullied or whatnot, or they're doing it and your kids don't know how to deal with it and you don't know how to deal with it, it happens. Do a Crime Stoppers tip. It will get, if it's in Guelph or anywhere, if it's in Guelph, it will get to me as online child exploitation. That's what I deal with. And I'll be able to investigate it. You don't have to put your name, as Sarah knows we deal with this a lot. Just have to put the information you know in there. With information, usernames, I can find out whereabouts it is, or I can continue my investigation, hopefully find out. I'm not looking, again, if you put that in, you're not looking to get this person arrested, you're looking to help them. And that's fine. I'm all for helping, I'm all for educating, and that's why we do these presentations, to help parents and kids understand that, yes, we are aware as parents that this is a scary, scary place. The internet is very scary. However, we work together, we can help bring it together, and we can help it not be a scary place and open up dialogue between kids and parents and help everybody get the best out of the internet, what it's meant for. So that's who I am. That's my email address, hcurrie@guelphpolice.ca. It comes right to my phone. I don't always answer on the weekends, but if it is serious, I guarantee you I will deal with an email. That's not a problem. That's what I'm here for. And that's all I got.
That's all. My goodness.
Question.
Thank you
That's
so
it.
much for that, Hugh. That was amazing. And there's just a couple things I'm going to tag on to what you've already laid out so well. You know, when you talk about Crime Stoppers, exactly right. We want to hear from people who are aware of other individuals who may be committing a crime. If you are the victim of crime, we can't work with you because we deal with individuals who need to be anonymous. So if you're the victim of crime, obviously that would be something you would need to deal directly with the police regarding. However, you know, maybe there's someone, you know, talking to the young people in the chat tonight, maybe there's someone in your class that you know is getting in trouble with their social media communications. Maybe you know of someone who's actually bullying online. Doing that to someone else. Maybe you know someone who is being pressured into providing or asking someone to provide them with photos that are inappropriate, right? So that's the stuff that we want to hear about. And just like Hugh said, you know, Crime Stoppers is a great opportunity. And I put some information in the chat there just so that you can see it. Just some of the resources that Hugh was referencing. And I've also included his email and then of course our website at www.csgw.tips. And of course, you're always welcome to call us, as you can see behind me, 1-800-222-TIPS, which is 8477. Now, Hugh, before we turn it over, like I say, I've got a couple quick questions here. I know you've received Crime Stoppers tips in the past. So just so people understand the dynamic between our two agencies, without sharing any identifying information, how valuable is a Crime Stoppers tip to one of your investigations?
A Crime Stoppers tip is very valuable. And why it's so valuable is because usually when people want to be anonymous, they seem to put in more information than somebody who doesn't want to be anonymous. They seem to want to spill the beans, I guess, is what the best word to say. Whereas somebody who comes to us, we sort of have to coax them and get all the information out that we need, that I need. It seems like with Crime Stoppers tips, people just say everything. They lay it all out on the line because they know it's anonymous. And it's great. Like we get some information where I'm like, oh my God, that's unbelievable. So it's really good. It's decided we can't always act on all the information we get, but it doesn't go unnoticed. It doesn't go unheard. Every Crime Stoppers my office gets, we investigate.
So as far as you're concerned, you don't care who it is that provides the information. It's not about finding out who the tipster is. It's about getting the information.
Correct. Yep. And if I can just add on one thing, I know you mentioned for victims, if we come across a victim, we have a company, not a company. We have a place called Boost, which is a counseling organization out of Toronto that deals with ICE investigation victims. So victims of ICE investigations, luring and whatnot. What it is we contact them, we give you your name and address, we let them know, and they help you find appropriate counseling for a minor who's been involved in an ICE investigation as a victim. So they will help you. I've had 2 or 3 where they've actually helped up the whole family. Because yes, it's not only the child that's a victim, it's everybody in the household is a victim. It affects everybody in one way or another. Unfortunately, I have seen families get broken up over this, but I've seen more families stick together, okay? So I can help victims, families of victims get counseling and get the proper help they need.
That's excellent. Thank you for that. I'll take a break now and see if there's any questions from the floor. If you want to put it in the chat or if you want to just unmute yourself and ask Hugh questions directly, we invite you to do that now. While we're waiting for now, for anyone to put their questions in. Hugh, I'm going to ask you, what happens, just for some of the young people that might be in on the call, what happens if I'm a young person and I'm sent an inappropriate image? Because I know that's a big factor for young people coming forward when we get, what they call the nude photos or the inappropriate photos that are shared. What's the best course of action for a young person when that happens?
Best course of action is obviously don't resend it. That's when you get into trouble. Stop right there and tell somebody. You can't control what comes into your phone, what comes into your email, but you can control what goes out of your email. And I'm glad you brought that up. So recently in Cambridge, a 13-year-old, and I'm just reading from my phone here, I apologize for this, has a 13-year-old was charged with child luring, distribution, child pornography, and whatnot. And that's right from the Waterloo Regional Police website. So it just goes to show that no matter what age you are, it happens at every age. It's a great example. I'm not part of that investigation, so I don't know anything about it, but that's just reading right from the news that it happens at any age, anywhere.
Absolutely. And then to extend from, maybe from the parental standpoint, you mentioned about being involved and being very proactive with engaging with what kids have on their phones. And I know that's a conversation I've had with parents too, and it feels so awkward. They feel that it's an invasion of privacy. And I think there needs to be kind of a flip on that, because when you think about it, none of our children actually own their cellular devices. Those are actually the property of the parents, because you have to sign a contract to get a cell phone. So if there's any inappropriate content or anything that could be deemed problematic, that could very easily come back on the parents as the owners of that device, correct?
Correct. So it starts from the beginning. It starts from, again, the communication aspect between you and your kids. I know when people my age grew up, there wasn't a lot of communication between parents because we didn't have devices that kids can hide stuff on. However, now we do. So now it's a time for parents to become more communicative with their kids, knowing what's on the devices, being curious. If you know they have something on their device, go ahead and Google it before you research it before you talk to them about it. That way, when you talk to them about it, you'll be throwing out bits and pieces. They'll be like, "Oh, you know what I'm talking about? What's going on? That's cool," and they'll open up more to you. Don't be afraid to talk to them about devices. Yes, they're scary, but yes, if you look and research it, you should be able to find out what you're looking for.
And another point from the parenting perspective, I know, especially when our kids are younger, it's so exciting to get those photos when they're, itty bitties and the toddlers and stuff like that. So even though it may not be for parents, of a school age child, but we really have to be careful the images that we're putting up of our younger children as well, right? We can put a lot of identifying information, and that video was perfect that illustrated how much information we actually share about ourselves without knowing it. So what are your feelings about people posting images of their younger children online?
So obviously you want to ensure that your Facebook page is locked down. So I'm going to say most of the generation in here is a big Facebook and Instagram user. Facebook owns Instagram, so they're all joined by the same corporation company, I'm going to say maybe. Make sure you have your settings set to friends. So who can see your pictures? Only you or friends, that's it. Now, your profile picture, which is usually a little small picture that is shown on your Facebook page, once you post something in there, that can't be made private. That is always searchable. Okay, that's always there to be searched. So, that being said, put a picture of your cat, dog, your goldfish up there. Don't put pictures of your kids up there, because once that's there, it's there. That can be searchable. So again, ensure that your stuff is locked down. If you don't know how to do it, Google it. Facebook has a great parental page on how to lock down your Facebook page, how to set certain restrictions on your Facebook page, Instagram page. Twitter's the same. They're all really good now because there has been a big push by organizations to ensure that they have certain ways to lock stuff down so kids material can't get out there.
Absolutely. So let's just give one more shout out in case anyone wants to ask a question before we do our wrap up. Some of the kids have questions. You're welcome to ask questions too.
Yeah, definitely. Kids are good. Kids have the best questions.
They do. And just to add to that, when I did student presentations in schools, a lot of people would think, well, the kids aren't aware of these interactions with online predators. But when I'm talking to the kids and I'll say to them, how many of you who have social media or gaming, right, online gaming, how many of you have been approached by someone looking for you to send them an inappropriate photo or have sent you an inappropriate photo? And just about every young person that is on social media, which is like 90% of the class, said that they've been approached through their direct messages. So they know what we're saying is accurate, and they know probably what you're saying tonight is very fair too. And that's where we need to realize, if for everyone who's saying it's not happening to my kid, I would challenge you on that. I would suggest that it probably already has happened with your kid. It's just whether or not your child is equipped to know how to deal with it when it happens. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Yep. And that's the big thing is the studies have been done. Kids don't know what to do when something comes up on their screen that they know is wrong and they know they're going to get in a lot of trouble for it. They don't know what to do with it. And that's where you just got to dig your heels in and bite your tongue and be supportive of your child. That's the biggest thing. You'd be surprised that if you're supportive of them for something that they think is major, that you're sort of inside your head going, oh, that's not that bad, but okay. The next time something big happens, they're going to come right to you right away and tell you about it. So it's sort of setting that groundwork that, you know what, I'm here for you. It's big, but the next time a bigger thing comes in, they'll come running.
Absolutely. I love that. Let's leave it on that note. I want to say thank you again, Hugh, for your time this evening. So much information, and I know there was even more, and I appreciate you. You know, we're over our hour now, but it was all great, and I appreciate you putting so much content in there. It's so important to understand the threats out there because it evolves so much. We also want to remind people that if they are concerned for their safety, their child's safety, being a victim of child luring, how can they reach investigators with Guelph Police Service?
You're asking me that question, yes. So you can call, sorry, I got lost looking at the chats. So you have my email address. Yes, I will answer it. However, not everything is in my portfolio, I'm gonna say. So I can direct you or I will direct you. The best thing to do is call the main number is 519-824-1212. Ask for a dispatcher and tell them what's going on. And they'll get the proper person out to you. It's probably going to be a uniform officer who are very well trained, very versed in what's going on. They know that if it gets over their head, they'll just bump it up the chain, usually to myself or a proper investigator. But please don't be afraid to call. In this world, in this type of trivia, dealing with kids and what could happen, not only short term, but we have to also think long term down the road. What is the emotional effect, physical effect going to be on a child down the road? I've seen what happens to a child down the road from when something happens now. Something happened 4 years ago to a child that I know of and the parents told me, and the child now to this date has gone downhill. So it happens, okay? So don't be afraid. If you think it's small and you're not sure what to do, please email me. It's my job, right? And I'm not ever gonna say no. So I'm there for you.
That's great. And for those who are joining us who are maybe from the county, the non-emergency number for Wellington County OPP is 1-888-310-1122. And again, that's a non-emergency type of call. However, if there is an urgent matter, it would be a 911 situation. But as Hugh says, if you're able to get ahead of it and you know, ask some questions if you have concerns, that would be the best. If you're aware of someone who is grooming or luring children and you want to remain anonymous, we invite you once again to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, which is 8477, or provide a web tip at www.csgw.tips. Thank you everyone who joined us for our third and final session of the Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington series featuring Detective Constable Hugh Currie of the Guelph Police Service Internet Child Exploitation Unit. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that Crime Stoppers Guelph Wellington takes tips 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, yes, even during a pandemic. You can call us at 1-800-222-TIPS, which is 8477, or provide a web tip at www.csgw.tips. Remember, your tip could be the missing piece of the puzzle. Good night.